Boy, oh boy, oh, looks like I got something else to look into. And you know what the funniest part is that I wasn't gonna do this update, but because the video was originally going to be about the Epstein documents that got released, I took a brief look at those and yeah, can't really make a video on something that is is kind of blacked out. Literally, like most of the documents are blacked out. So, unfortunately, we have to change our topic today. But if you're wondering, we're going to be talking about the Tates. Now, I know in the last time I believe I covered these guys, I was mostly referencing to how if there's any big updates in their case, that's when I was going to make their next video. But, well, I came across a video by Voidzilla. And that's really where this inspiration for this video came from. But we're going to look at that in a bit. But, yeah, so what's the update? Well, it looks like the Tates are in the US. Now, for those who are a little bit unaware, they're actually both US and UK citizens, so they can technically come here. But, yeah, so let's read about it. So here we have here from CNN, right-wing influencer Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan have landed in Fort Lauderdale, Florida after leaving Romania on a private jet Thursday, according to Mattia Petrescu, the brothers' spokesperson. The Tate brothers, who are dual US and UK internationals, have previously been banned from leaving Romania after being arrested in 2022 and later charged with forming an organized criminal group and human trafficking. Andrew Tate was also accused of rape. They have denied all wrongdoing. Speaking to the media outside Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood International Airport in Florida on Thursday after landing, Tate said, "I think my brother and I are largely misunderstood." Almost said legally. There are a lot of opinions about us, all the things that go around about us on the internet. Reports of pressure to lift travel ban. The decision by Romanian authorities to lift the ban came after the US reportedly put pressure on Bucharest to ease restrictions on Tate, a self-proclaimed misogynist who has a large online following and has become a cause célèbre on the American right. Now, say what you will, I don't know how true this is, but I would not be entirely surprised if that makes sense. So we are. So yeah, apparently they're in the US, and in case you've been wondering though, it's kind of ironic that they say he has a huge online following, because if anything, this guy has, to me, I don't see him as much anymore. He's kind of faded into obscurity, and the last time I looked at it was, I believe, like he was really relevant was when he got arrested or something like that, or his crypto scam, all that fun stuff. So here we are. Though I will say though, the irony about the Tates is the fact that they literally snitch on themselves all the time. It's actually ridiculous. And you might be asking, what did he snitch about themselves now? So, interesting enough, within the CoffeeZilla video, there's actually a very, very small portion that I wanted to look into. And that is, of course, Scorpius Ltd. Now, what the hell is Scorpius Ltd? Well, actually, I'll let Tristan Tate explain his little inside joke about Scorpius.
Captain Vladimir Scorpius, I fear no weather.
Listen, we need to solve this problem. It's a big problem.
Why?
Because the ship's wet.
So?
I don't think it's supposed to be wet.
You're gonna be wet in a second when I throw you in the fucking ocean. Man overboard. Oh yeah, we'll be turning around the rest of you.
So in the video, there was a little bit of a leak, right? Where it says here, Tristan Tate's passport. And if you can see, I know it's a little bit hard to see, but it says Scorpius Vladimir. Now, if you're wondering, who is Scorpius Vladimir? Is that like a code name or something in the operation? I hate to tell you, but Scorpius Vladimir is unfortunately a James Bond villain. Is the name of the main villain, Scorpius. Now, I'm not a James Bond fan, so I don't know the nooks and crannies, the nuances. But whoever read this book, let me know how the main plot is, because yeah, I'm curious. Interesting choice. And so, naturally, because of this particular name, this actually led me down to a little bit of a rabbit hole. And because the Tates are actually, they do tend to post different shell companies, at least allegedly. And there's also them talking about their different empires. So here we have a little something from Mr. Tristan Tate. So I got this from a website that logs different businesses. So under this name here, if you wonder if it's actually him, well, technically not true. We don't know if it's not true, but technically we don't know. But it says here he's like the world director, country of residence. He's in the UK, which is where most of their operations were. Their nationality is British, and date of birth is July 1988. Now, if we do a quick Google search, we find out that Tristan Tate was born July 15th, 1988. He's about 36 right now. So, I'll let you guys come up with your own conclusion on that one. So, anyways. Now, I'm going to show you this little list. And it says here, what is the first name that we have? Scorpius Ltd. And it was from April 2022 to September 26, 2023. So, what's that? A shell company? And by the way, there's other ones. And if you go the further back, it even says here Tate Media Limited. And he's advertised in 2012 and 2014. So that's when they were doing their their webcamming, I believe. Or it might be actually could be a bit earlier than that. But anyways, that has been going on for a while. So now if we keep going, and if we take a look at Scorpius Ltd, looking through it, it gives you a lot of the records. So it was about it's been dissolved now, but its age was about 2 years and 10 months. It was a very small business, and also accounts have not been submitted. Its confirmation has not been submitted. Oh, and if we look at the financials, guess what? They're all due soon. So what does this say? You may be wondering. That just basically means that this was probably a way to siphon money in and out, is what I would go with. Because unfortunately, the details of this company aren't very well known. It's not very well documented. And even when you go to his latest activity, there's something interesting. Okay, so you see about 1 year ago, 7 months, it gets a compulsory Gazette notice. And then it gets a compulsory dissolution about maybe, a year, 5 months. Actually, not even 5 months, literally 2 months after. So, yeah, so the company dissolved because of reasons. Maybe you might be asking, okay, so how do you get a compulsory Gazette notice? Because we don't even know what that is. So basically, this little website here tells us that a compulsory strike-off is where company's house have removed a company from the register at Companies House, which is like the official logging in the UK, and it is legally dissolved / closed. You can voluntarily dissolve your company for various reasons, but this is a separate process and not detailed within this article. And so now, I decided to take a look at Companies House, and it says here, looking at when a company can apply to be struck off the register. And let's read together. So a company can apply to deregister, to be struck off the register and dissolved. The company can do this if it's no longer needed. For example, if the directors wish to retire and there is no one to take over the running of the company. Company is a subsidiary whose name is no longer needed. Company was originally set up to exploit an idea that turned out to not be feasible. Some companies which are dormant or no longer trading can choose to apply for strike-off if you have decided that you do not want to retain your company and wish to have it struck off. The registrar will not normally pursue an outstanding late filing penalties unless you restore the company to the register at a later stage. The procedure is not an alternative to formal insolvency proceedings where these are appropriate. Even if the company is struck off and dissolved, creditors and others could apply for the company to be restored to the register. And we're going to circle back again. And if we actually look at how long this company lasts, it lasted maybe almost barely 2 years. And that's me being generous. Okay? And on top of that, if you remember, and we're going to bring it back again, look at the other companies. These never lasted more than between a year, 2 years. They didn't last that long. So what does this tell me? Well, it tells me a lot, actually, that we have a bit of with shell companies. And so, yeah, that's who we are now. Now, in case you might be asking yourself, okay, maybe it wasn't them. Maybe someone else is impersonating the Tates. Maybe something is, not making sense. And what I actually found when I was actually looking through the different companies, I found this court case, okay? I don't know how I missed it back then, but we're going to look at it now. So on December 18th, 2024, so not that long ago, it actually says here, police could seize more than £2 million from Tate Brothers court rules. And so if you're wondering, like, what happened here, it says that police can seize more than £2 million from controversial influencer Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan Tate after they failed to pay tax on £21 million of revenue from their online businesses, a court has ruled. Devon and Cornwall police had sought to seize the funds held in 7 frozen bank accounts from the brothers and a third person referred to as Jay. The chief magistrate at Westminster Magistrates Court said what appeared to be a complex financial matrix sorry, there's some irony in that, was actually a straightforward sheet of the revenue. The court previously heard the brothers had paid just under 21 million or 9.5 million pounds into an account in Jay's name. They had also opened a second account in her name, even though she had no role in their online businesses, which include the War Room, which we covered in our previous videos, Hustlers University, which I haven't gotten to yet, Cobra Tate, and OnlyFans, the hearing was told. Part of the money the police applied to seize was cryptocurrency held in an account in Jay's name. Devon and Cornwall police lawyers told the court that Andrew Tate had publicly declared he had not paid tax in the UK and that his approach had been to ignore because in the end they go away. Now, I actually have this clip where he says that, or at least says something similar to that. So let's take a leak. A leak? Whoa, that does not make sense. Let's take a look. Because this man cannot stop snitching on himself. It's almost getting comical how much he snitched on himself. Jesus.
Every single system in the world is based on complicity. They cannot enforce systems. The IRS cannot enforce you to pay your taxes. The police cannot enforce you to wear a mask. There are not enough enforcers. Everything is based on complicity. If you refuse to comply permanently, you will be amazed how far you can get as an individual. And I mean this. So let me give you an example. My tax affairs are fully in order in Romania because I pay 3%. But when I lived in England, I refused to pay tax. It was 40%. So they started sending me letters and threatening me. Do you know what you do? You know what most people would do? Reply to the letter, get a clever accountant. Guess what I did? Ignore the letters. Ignore.
For the record, he literally just admitted to tax evasion on whatever the hell this was. Whew. But just to give you guys a full picture, like, yeah, this is what we're working with here. So what do we have so far? Okay, he's known to have crypto, all right? He's known to tell on camera that he's, done this webcamming whatever stuff. He's on camera known to have said everything else. And so now, and by the way, on top of that, we know what Tristan's code name is, and he calls himself Scorpius. And then what ends up happening is we find out there's a company called Scorpius Ltd that he was, the founder of. Okay? And the company lasted for 2 years. So it was barely even a company. And the fact that we don't know what the company did or what it was about. So, yeah, here we are. But let's wrap up this article because I do want to show you guys something else actually, which is even more interesting. So here it says, Jude Goldspring said one of the accounts had been used to move money in relation to the allegations. I'm satisfied that this account is used for payments connected to female complainants in the Romanian allegations and also significant payments to co-defendants in the Romanian criminal proceedings, he said. Whether or not the respondent brothers' webcam business activities amount to modern slavery and others offenses will ultimately be determined by the Romanian criminal courts. But for these purposes, I am satisfied that none of these funds were declared to the tax authorities in either the UK or Romania. He said this supported his conclusion that the brothers' entire financial arrangements are consistent with concerted tax evasion and money laundering. When the pair were initially accused of hiding cash from tax authorities, they had told the court they would rely on evidence from an expert accountant. Now, if this is somebody who is innocent, okay, and somebody who is, wants to blame the Matrix, what kind of response is that? Why would you say they would rely on evidence from an expert accountant? I mean, hey, if you're innocent, you could just say something else. But we're falling into opinion territory, so let's not stay there too long. But it's just a lot of these responses they have, it's interesting because they'll say the Matrix is after them, the Matrix, but but the irony is that they're exploiting a bug in the Matrix of using shell companies and money laundering. That and this bug hasn't been patched out of the system yet. And by the way, one of the key areas that people use to money launder is shell companies, companies that don't go nowhere and they have no records. That's a very big one when it comes to money laundering. So it's very interesting that they are claiming the Matrix is all against them, but somehow they're using the Matrix's broken bugs to their advantage. So make it make sense. But anyways, I just actually have this last clip about Tristan Tate talking about how he was denied some stuff from his banking. So let's play it because you guys are going to love what he has to say about banks. You're really going to like it.
There's a friend of mine who owns a bank. I'm not going to put him on blast. I'm not going to say the name of his bank, but he owns his own bank. He's a very successful guy. He's a member. He's a member of my private, an actual bank, a bank. And he said, "Don't worry, Tristan. I'll just give you an account in my bank. No problem." Sent him my passport, my brother's passport, all my details. I said, "Good. Make me a bank account." He calls me 2 days later. He says, "I have never seen anything like this in my life." I said, "What?" He says, "When you try to speak with your banking regulator, the people who issue your banking license, it's always weeks and months to get them to reply to you, and it's a very long process. The person who issued my banking license called me today and said, if you give these 2 accounts, your license is revoked and your bank's been shut down." And I was like, wow. So if you don't believe in the Matrix, if you don't believe me and Andrew are under attack, if you think that we are just, I guess, suffering the consequences of our own actions and that we're criminals and there's no conspiracy against us, explain to me, please, why I can't have a bank anywhere in the world.
So I want you to keep in mind, right? So they self-stitch on camera. And if you look into look into some of these records, like, Scorpius LTD, you find that, oh, wait, this looks like a shell company. And by the way, in the UK, you can be refused a basic bank account if you do not pass an ID check or immigration check. The bank suspects you of, sorry, let me clear my throat, fraud or financial crime. So, yeah, here we are. And yeah. So that's kind of what the whole situation is about. I mean, I'm really surprised people with money and influence, want people somehow over, like someone like Tate's over here, like, yeah. I know I talk about really the Epstein files, but you know why those files are never getting released? It's because those people are most likely in very high positions of power. And whenever that happens, good luck arresting all of them. Like literally, if you go look at the Epstein documents that the Department of Justice released, it's all blacked out. You can't even look at it. So, here we are. But anyways, yeah, I just want to do this update because it's actually a very weird turn in the whole Tate case. But it's ironic because I ended up going down a different kind of rabbit hole. So, they're still being investigated, of course. At least to my knowledge. But there hasn't been anything like super official as of right now. Now, if they get off in Romania, I'm going to be honest here, the Romanian government is going to look like a joke. Like, especially with the amount of stuff that the Tates have on themselves. So, is what it is. I'm sure this case is going to take a very long time to get going. And, I mean, there's so many chat logs, there's so many videos I can find. Like, the clips I found, by the way, were like 1 click away. It did not take me long. So, if you ever want to do your own research, you can. But, yeah. So I understand that people might be mad about this. It is what it is. But, but if we want to ever make change, perhaps we should look into these ourselves, be the change we want to be. So yeah, a bit of a weird wholesome note to end on. But yeah, that's basically this little investigation we did today. So if you enjoyed these type of deep dives and want to see more of me, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and follow my social down in the description below. But yeah, that's it for me today. So